In the evening, after finishing her bath, Liang Ru-yu took a hairdryer to dry her hair. At that moment, Lin Ke walked in and reminded her, "Make sure to rest well." Liang Ru-yu tugged at his sleeve, conveying her desire for him to stay with her. "Please don't go, stay with me." Lin Ke was surprised and asked, "Have you been drinking?" He glanced at the half-finished bottle of wine that Liang Ru-yu had been drinking. Her face flushed, and then she suddenly lunged forward to kiss Lin Ke. "Kiss me." Lin Ke did not refuse and kissed her back. He held Liang Ru-yu tightly, sensing the situation was somewhat inappropriate. He seriously reminded her, "You're drunk?" Liang Ru-yu shyly expressed, "I'm not drunk, I know what I'm doing. It's not because you helped me that I'm like this. I really like you." Saying that, she started to remove her clothes. Hearing this, Lin Ke felt reassured and embraced Liang Ru-yu. She happily said, "Lin Ke, that scene was adult content, so I'll skip over it, ha ha ha." After a while, Lin Ke gently held her. The two hugged each other affectionately. She suddenly smiled and requested, "Right, send me an electronic copy of that document." Lin Ke immediately replied, "Okay, I'll send it to you." Liang Ru-yu gradually got off the bed and put her clothes back on. While getting dressed, her mother suddenly called. She picked up the phone. "Hello." Her grandfather asked curiously, "Where did you get this list from?" She replied, "I can't tell you that, but I assure you everything written in that document is true, not fake." Hearing this, he reluctantly said, "All right, I know about this. You absolutely must not interfere. Just do your job well." Lin Ke looked at Liang Ru-yu's dress that she had not fully pulled up and smiled slyly, happily saying loudly, "Let me help you pull your dress up." Hearing him, her complexion gradually turned pale. Her mother angrily asked, "Are you at that kid's house?" Liang Ru-yu was flustered, not knowing how to explain, hurriedly saying, "My phone ran out of battery. I'm hanging up." In Yanjing, the abrupt ending of the call left Liang Ru-yu's grandfather and her father very surprised. Her father, Liang Xiao, exclaimed in panic, "What on earth is going on? You're not even married, you've already moved in together? What does that even mean?" Liang Ru-yu's mother, Shu Yi, calmly said, "You two should calm down. I'm a mother and I'm not even this agitated. It might just be their friends getting together to eat and have fun, not just the two of them." Liang Xiao scrolled through the documents on his phone, worriedly saying, "Ha, this document is not trivial. If it gets leaked, the consequences will be severe." In contrast to her husband's reaction, Mrs. Shu Yi excitedly clapped and said, Well, this might just be an opportunity for our Liang family." Hearing that, Mr. Liang Xiang, he laughed joyfully. "Haha, look, it's still my daughter-in-law who is more resourceful. It seems this list can help the Liang family eliminate quite a few obstacles." He picked up a glass of wine and said, "Put away half a bottle, and the rest I'll have to give to Director Chang tomorrow. We need to make a little exchange." Liang Xiao asked in surprise, "Do we have to bother that person?" Mr. Liang Xiang, he frowned slightly and replied, "If we see them as a thorn in our side, of course, they will see us as a splinter in our flesh too." But he was very curious to ask how Ru-yu got this, because the girl herself didn't have such capability. It seemed she found someone to help her. Shui suddenly asked, "Father, do you know what kind of status someone named Lin Ke has? I've heard he was the one who performed Mr. Yang's surgery." Mr. Liang Xiang, he unexpectedly asked back, "Do you remember years ago in Dongbai there was someone who made a huge ruckus all by himself?" Both Liang Xiao and his wife were startled to realize. Xiao asked in surprise, "Are you talking about Lin Jianjing?" Returning to Liang Ru-yu, she gradually gathered her hair up. She'd already sent that list to her grandfather, and he would handle it himself. After preparing properly, she stepped forward, kissed Lin Ke lightly on the cheek, and said, "Maybe people won't know it was all you, but I will always remember it in my heart." Lin Ke lifted her chin and gently said, "You are not being practical at all. I know what you want better than anyone." Ru-yu pushed his hand away and replied, "I know, just rest early. I have to go to work tomorrow. Try to sort out everything related to the drug prices." The next day at the hospital where Lin Ke worked, when he arrived, he looked at the scene before him filled with 1,000 questioning marks. There were two men who seemed quite unfamiliar talking to Lai Xu-han with very cheerful expressions. "Director Lai, we will be colleagues from now on. Hope we can cooperate happily." After seeing them present a black gift box, Lai Xu-han seemed flustered and hesitant. Suddenly, upon seeing Lin Ke, Lai Xu-han ran over. "Lin, you're here. These two are the new deputy directors of our department." Lai Xu-han quickly introduced. "This is Director Wang Ziyi, the man with light brown hair, and this is Director Hang Xin Jiang, the man with short blue hair." Wang Ziyi continuously looked at Lin Ke with an annoyed expression and said, I know who he is. He is the reserve deputy director, and I heard he did surgery for senior leaders. That's why he got promoted so quickly. Hearing such words, Lin Ke immediately shot a cold glare at him. Chao Xin, standing in the middle, felt uncomfortable as Lin Ke and Wang Ziyi were staring at each other like they wanted to devour each other. To ease the tension, Chao Xin said, Lin, the patient in room 804 is being discharged today. Do you want to stop by and take a look? Hearing this, Lin Ke immediately agreed. Follow me to take a look. Then he turned and walked away, ignoring Wang Ziyi behind him. A moment later, they arrived right in front of room 804. Zhao Wen was packing her luggage into a suitcase to prepare to leave the hospital after a series of treatment days. Upon seeing Lin Ke, she turned around and asked, Why are you here again? Are you here to mock me again? Lin Ke replied in a mocking tone, With you spending so much money on medical treatment, you are my female bodhisattva. Zhao Wen couldn't hold back her anger and immediately retorted fiercely, I admit I am no match for you, but I truly cannot understand what your purpose is. Is it to do charity? You don't look like a philanthropist. After that, Lin Ke took out a piece of paper, glanced at it, and stroked his chin with a slight smile. There is no reason at all, just that I find you too simple. That's all. Hearing this, Zhao Wen uncomfortably crossed her arms, her expression as ugly as it could be. Bitterly looking at Lin Ke, she couldn't swallow her anger and shouted straight in his face. I want to be discharged right now. I never want to see you again for the rest of my life. Lin Ke still wore a sly smile. All right then, let's get you discharged. While Zhao Wen was fuming, he brightened up and called Chao Xin to check how much she had spent so far so they could go downstairs to settle the bill. Chao Xin quickly handed her the hospital bill and smiled, saying, First, here's $1,000, then go downstairs to pay your remaining $48,000. Chao Xin's words left Zhao Wen stunned. She couldn't help but exclaim, Why is it so expensive? Chao Xin quickly explained, Director Lin said your status is very noble, so the equipment and medicine you used are all imported, which naturally drives up the cost. At that moment, Zhao Wen felt like she had been struck by lightning, helplessly pounding her chest and nearly collapsing. She didn't forget to turn her head in anger, clenching her fist and shooting an enraged glare at Lin Ke, saying indignantly, He really exploits everything, even setting a trap for me with this. As for Lin Ke, it was needless to say how pleased he was. After a while, Lin Ke sat at his desk, quickly discussing with Chao Xin, who was placing a stack of documents on the table. Is the procedure done? Chao Xin wearily replied, Yes, someone has come to pick it up. If we wait any longer, I'm afraid you'll be making jokes until you drive yourself crazy and end up in the hospital again. Suddenly, Lai Xuhan stepped up, presented the documents in front of Lin Ke, and said, Both of you should take a look at this. Xuhan, with a serious expression, continued, Tomorrow there is a surgery. Here is the patient's condition. Lin Ke nodded in agreement after listening. Suddenly, there was the sound of applause from somewhere. It turned out to be Deputy Director Wang Ziyi announcing to the whole room, Everyone, I just finished discussing with Director Zhang. Today is our first day at work, so I would like to invite everyone to lunch as well to facilitate our work in the future. He smiled and took out his mobile phone. Everyone, please don't order GoFood for lunch today. Let me order GrabFood for you instead. Hearing this, everyone in the room happily replied, Thank you, Director Wang and Director Zhang. Wang Ziyi maintained his cheerful expression and said, Okay, that's the decision. If I remember correctly, counting the nurses outside, our department has a total of 28 people, right? Upon hearing this, Lin Ke looked confused. Chao Xin, upon hearing that Deputy Director Wang would invite the entire department, felt worried. Director Wang, are you really inviting everyone? That will cost a lot of money. But he was not worried at all and replied, That's fine to me. This is just a small gesture of goodwill. Half an hour later, several delivery people quickly brought the food. One person asked, Excuse me, who is Dr. Wang with the phone ending in 1877? Your order has been delivered. Wang Ziyi quickly spoke up. It's me. You can just come to my desk. His desk was already filled with meals for everyone, neatly packaged and complete. Wang Ziyi said, Today I'm treating everyone to lunch. The food has arrived. Please help yourselves and take your portion. Wang Ziyi suddenly brought a blue box to Lai Xuhan's desk and said, Director Lai, this is the caramel latte that I specially chose for you. Please give it a try. Seeing this, she responded without expression. Thank you. Chao Xin came to get her meal, but suddenly felt something was off. With a confused expression, she asked, Huh? Why is it that when it's my turn, there's only the last meal left? Where's Lin's meal? Wang Ziyi slyly pretended to scratch his head. Oh, let me see my memory. Director Lin, I really apologize. I forgot to include your portion. Please order your meal yourself. Like Suhan and Chao Xin were not children. They could easily recognize his intentions. Both shared the same thought. This Wang Ziyi is definitely doing it on purpose. Chao Xin then handed her lunchbox to Lin Ke and said, Lin, this meal is for you. It's just that I need to lose weight today, so I'll just eat fruit. This left him confused, not knowing what to do. Suddenly, from outside the door, a voice sounded. Excuse me, is Dr. Lin here? To his surprise, it was Jai King Ren. She was dressed extravagantly, exuding an enchanting charm, holding a lunchbox in her hand. The staff in the room, upon seeing her, were captivated and couldn't take their eyes off her, forgetting about the lunches in their hands. This sudden appearance made Lin Ke curious. Why is she here? Jia King Ren gracefully walked over to Lin Ke, looking cheerful. I'm free this noon, so I brought you a lunch. Lin Ke also smiled and replied, That's great, just in time since I haven't eaten anything yet. Lin Ke glanced at Wang Ziyi and said, Everyone can feel free to eat here. I won't be joining you. Though he said everyone, each word seemed directed specifically at Wang Ziyi. Wang Ziyi could only look angrily at the two people entering the room, feeling a deep sense of jealousy. Why do all the beautiful women have a relationship with him? Jai King Ren and Lin Ke entered the hospital's break room. The lunchbox Jai King Ren brought contained delicious and appealing dishes that made one want to eat at first glance. Lin Ke opened the lunchbox, looked at Jai King Ren curiously, and asked, By the way, why did you bring lunch for me? Jai King Ren smiled charmingly and said, I noticed we haven't had a meal together in a long time. Besides, I'm free right now, so I brought this for you. After tasting the food, Lin Ke happily remarked, It's delicious. Hearing this, Jai King Ren was very pleased and gazed admiringly at Lin Ke enjoying the meal. In the break room, the two were happily chatting with each other. After finishing eating, Lin Ke said goodbye to Jai King Ren at the elevator. This afternoon after work, I'll come pick you up. She responded with a wink and a kiss blown in the air along with the gentle words, I'll wait for you. Once back in the office, Lin Ke noticed that the whole room was buzzing with chatter, and some people looked at him with admiration. Before Lin Ke even sat down at his desk, Chao Xin happily ran over and curiously asked, Was that beautiful girl earlier your girlfriend? Lin Ke immediately denied, Not at all. She keeps pursuing me, but I didn't agree. She's quite popular, so I just have to endure it. Wang Ziyi, overhearing, felt annoyed and directed all his disdain towards Lin Ke. You're really good at putting on a show. Then Chao Xin said, We were just discussing the dress she's wearing. It seems to be the latest style from Burberry. I heard it's over $80,000 each. Lin Ke heard that and explained, She is the owner of a company. A dress worth over $80,000 is just normal. Xiao Xin, upon hearing this, brightened up and looked at Lin Ke with admiration. You are truly formidable. The person pursuing you is so wealthy. Suddenly, Like Suhan stepped forward, interrupting their conversation with his voice. There's a surgery tomorrow morning. Quickly go check the medical records. At this point, Chao Xin could only smile and reply, I know, Director Lai. The scene shifts to Wang Ying, who, with a sad expression, hurriedly walked down the street. Seeing her, Lin Ke called out, Sister Ying, where are you rushing off to like that? She saw him and exclaimed, Lin Ke. Then she continued, Have you been busy with something lately? I haven't seen you for a long time. Lin Ke explained, I'm at the hospital working as a doctor, trying out the job and the medical environment. Where are you in such a hurry to go? Wang Ying responded, I really admire you. You went to the hospital to be a doctor. You're amazing. Then, with a displeased expression, she replied, Right? The project our company has contracted on the outskirts of the city, there are a few households that refuse to relocate. They refuse to leave no matter what. They demand $10,000 per square meter for demolition. It's really shameless. Lin Ke looked at the watch and said, If it stays like this, it will indeed be difficult to resolve. Just in time, she hasn't finished her shift yet. Let me and my sister go over and take a look. Wang Ying, feeling shy and a bit worried, reminded him, I can take you there, but you mustn't lose your temper. This matter is very sensitive. If it gets noisy, it won't be good for the Zhao Yang group. Lin Ke quickly reassured her, Don't worry, I can control myself. Just take me there. The two got into the white car and drove to the workplace. Inside the car, Lin Ke called Chin Han. Help me arrange for 10 trucks to wait for me at 360 rundown residential area. I have something I need them for. Chin Han asked in confusion, Lin, what do you need the trucks for? Isn't the project in that rundown residential area about to start? Lin Ke smiled smugly and replied, It's not that I need the trucks. It's that there are a few households there that are a bit difficult to handle. I'm just going over to take a look for fun. Kinahan quickly understood. A few households refuse to relocate. All right, I'll go make arrangements. At the rundown residential area full of dilapidated houses, their car stopped just in time. Lin Ke and Wang Ying got out and walked inside. Suddenly, a stranger spoke up. "Hey, buddy, you are a friend of Boss Kin, right?" Lin Ke couldn't help but be curious. He asked, "Do you know me?" That person said cheerfully, "Boss Kin sent me your photo, so I recognized you right away. I am Zhao San, and he told me to wait for you here. Everything will be arranged according to your instructions." At that moment, Lin Ke and Wang Ying walked together to a construction site. After meeting Zhao San there, Lin Ke assigned the task. "I have a task for you. Whenever someone comes out from this place, you have to stop them, but be careful not to hurt anyone." After hearing Lin Ke say that, Zhao San replied, "Boss Lin, don't worry. We were called here by young Master Qin, so we know what to do." Then both of them went inside. While there were two trucks parked there, Lin Ke suddenly stopped when he saw a large crowd coming from a distance. A blonde young man smoking immediately became arrogant and pointed. "Dan, stop talking. It's $10,000 per square meter. If it's 1 cent less, we won't go anywhere." Seeing so many people, Lin Ke and Wang Ying were very surprised. Wang Ying anxiously asked, "What's going on? Why are so many people coming at the same time?" Lin Ke heard this and glanced at Wang Ying, asking casually, "What's up? Doesn't this kind of situation happen often?" Wang Ying raised her hand to touch her head as if trying to recall something, her eyes downcast as she worriedly said to Lin Ke, "Usually there are only a few people. I don't know why it's like this today. Let's go over there and see what's happening." Suddenly, Wang Hongji, a negotiation specialist from Zhao Yang Group, appeared with a panicked and fearful expression, sweat pouring down his face, and said, "Minister Wang, Lin, you both are here." Seeing this, Wang Ying immediately spoke up and asked, "What's going on? Why are there so many people here?" Wang Hongji quickly reported the situation to them. Normally, there wouldn't be this many people. His complexion was now ashen, as if he had no strength left, and he tugged at his collar while answering Wang Ying. Because they heard that someone wants $10,000 for 1 square meter. This news reached them, so they came here to demand money. Upon hearing this, Lin Ke guessed their intentions. "I suspect these people want to inflate the price, so they came here. I'll go over and take a look." Lin Ke stepped forward and said, "Why are you making such a fuss? If you want the money, send someone to represent you here. We can talk it over." The young blonde man who had been so arrogant stepped forward, holding a cigarette and looking terrible as he said, "We have no demands. Just pay the full amount and we will leave immediately. Not even one household will stay." Lin Ke frowned and replied, "I don't want to waste time with you. That's not going to happen." Lin Ke's words made the man, who had the cigarette in his mouth, turn angry and his face darkened. He then took the cigarette out and with an unpleasant attitude said, "Can't do it? That's not a big deal. We'll just drag this out. After all, I have plenty of time." Upon hearing these words, it was unclear what Lin Ke was calculating, but he touched his chin and flashed a cunning smile. Then Lin Ke stood between two trucks, extending his arms to gesture towards them, and said to the blonde young man, "Do you see these trucks by the roadside? Even if you want to go out, you can't." The blonde young man became furious and swore, "Are you threatening me?" Lin Ke remained calm, showing no emotions as he replied, "Whether it's a threat or not, you can try and find out." He then called the bald young man from behind to have him do something. "Susie, go and try to find an opportunity to bump into it. The more serious it is, the better. I'll compensate you 5 times. Upon hearing such a large sum of money, the bald young man disregarded his own safety and advanced forward with a fierce demeanor. He passed through another area, but unexpectedly, Lin Ke noticed him. At that moment, a truck suddenly came rushing in, blocking the bald young man's path. Luckily, he reacted in time, braking just as intended. His face darkened, and he gritted his teeth in anger. Without any hesitation, he ran headfirst into the truck. Blood splattered all over the pavement. A few people in the crowd were taken aback. Meanwhile, the blonde young man seized the chance to take out his phone and start recording. A sinister smile spread across his face. 2 other people helped the bald man to his feet, and his forehead now had a large patch of blood. The man shouted, "Quickly take him to the hospital." Meanwhile, the blonde young man still held his phone, frowning and speaking loudly, "You're really ruthless. Let's go. This isn't over." As soon as they heard the leader's words, a group of people turned and left. Only the blonde young man shouted, "We're leaving." He turned to look at Lin Ke, flashing a calculating smile. Lin Ke was also very cautious. After witnessing the entire incident, he instructed Wang Hongji, "This is more complicated than I thought. I don't know what their intentions are. Just continue with the project as usual, but don't mention this to Boss Lady G. Got it?" Wang Hongji quickly replied, "Understood, Mr. Lin." After resolving the matter at the construction site, Lin Ke led Wang Ying to the parking lot, then turned around and waved goodbye to her, saying, "I'm going to pick up Boss Lady G. You don't need to worry about me." Wang Ying didn't have time to respond. She just mumbled an acknowledgement. At that moment, the door to Jai King Ren's room opened. Lin Ke saw her looking dazed, staring blankly in her direction. Jai King Ren, in a dress that suited her perfectly, was dazzling, sparkling, and fitting for her sharp figure. She asked Lin Ke, "Does this dress look good? I spent a lot of time picking it out." Lin Ke raised his hand to his chin, adopting a thoughtful pose, and said, "The dress is not pretty." This response surprised Jai King Ren a bit, causing her to exclaim, "Oh," and blush. Lin Ke's charm was quite rich. He gently lifted her chin towards him and smiled affectionately as he said to her, "I only like you when you're not wearing clothes." Upon hearing this, Jai King Ren shyly scolded him, "You jerk." And so, they leaned in together for a kiss. Lin Ke's hands were not idle. They began to roam. Then, the two were lost in the room. At that moment, he had Jai King Ren pinned down to her desk. The next day, two tall buildings were connected by an overhead bridge. On the rooftop of the building on the right, the words Zhao Yang Corporation were displayed. The sky was blue with a few white clouds, creating a bright and fresh atmosphere. Inside the building, Jai King Ren was walking in when her secretary quickly ran out to report. "Boss Lady G, the project in the outskirts of the city has been completed. We can start construction at any time." After hearing the report, Jai King Ren calculated for a moment and said, "Notify the vice president to come to the project room, meeting at 10 o'clock. At that moment, a strange number was calling Jai King Ren's phone. The screen displayed an image of Lin Ke beating someone, blood splattering everywhere. Jai King Ren, shocked, thought to herself, "Lin Ke." So she answered the call. After holding the phone to her ear, the person on the other end introduced himself. "Boss Lady G, I am Wang Yang." Then he continued recounting the situation from the slum yesterday. "Your man, Lin Ke, beat my subordinate so badly that he was injured all over his face. Boss Lady G, you should prepare some meals for Lin Ke. After all, murder is not a light crime." Upon hearing this, her expression darkened. As her secretary moved forward to do something, Jai King Ren raised her hand to stop him and spoke directly to the person on the other end. "Don't you want this project? I can give it to you. Just find a place to sign a transfer contract." Wang Yang responded immediately. "Boss Lady G is very straightforward. Indeed, a person who gets things done. I have prepared a banquet at the Daegu restaurant this afternoon. We'll meet and discuss." Jai King Ren's expression was extremely stern, and she calmly said, "All right." Suddenly, a young man's footsteps stopped, and he exclaimed loudly, "Sister Ying, it's not good." A young man reported to Wang Ying about the current situation. "Boss Lady G found out about what Lin Ke did for us in the slum yesterday. She asked me a lot of questions just now and then took the contract to go outside." Hearing this, Wang Ying stood up in panic and asked, "What?" Her face was filled with fear as she hurriedly grabbed her phone, searching for Lin Ke's name in the contacts. After he answered, Wang Ying quickly got to the point. "Lin Ke, Boss Lady G knows about what happened yesterday. We can't hide it anymore." With her face dripping with sweat, she spoke loudly. Boss Lady G rushed to drive somewhere after finding out about this. Lin Ke's face was pale with panic. His eyes widened in shock. After hearing these words from Wang Ying, he quickly stood up, took off his coat, and anxiously ran out of the hospital, tossing the coat to the nurse at the desk. "Please hold this for me." The nurse extended both hands to receive it and replied, "Yes, Dr. Lin." Just as the elevator doors closed, they quickly opened again. Inside the elevator were a girl with black hair and a man. The girl with black hair asked with confusion, "Why is the boss in such a hurry? Is something wrong?" Lin Ke quickly pushed them out of the elevator and said, "I'm sorry." Both of them were startled and unclear about what was happening. Then the elevator doors closed again. Duan, Yongchun, and the girl with black hair stood looking towards the elevator. At this moment, the girl frowned and said, "This doesn't feel right. It seems something has happened. I know Lin Ke well. He is someone who wouldn't change his expression even if a mountain collapsed in front of him. If he's this anxious, something must be wrong." In an old-fashioned restaurant, Zhao Shenyang spoke up. "Mr. Fang, I heard that your negotiation for the HR batch failed." As soon as Mr. Fang heard this, he sighed and replied, "If it weren't for Lin Ke, that negotiation would have been successful a long time ago. It has cost our family several $billion for nothing." Another person, holding a string of prayer beads and spitting them, chimed in, "Wait until that boy's woman arrives. I will reclaim your losses." The three of them sat at the same table, waiting for Jai King Ren, looking very scheming. Mr. Fang then continued, "Well then, I will trouble you, Zhao, and you, Uncle Wang, to help me regain some face. Also, it would be good if we could figure out how to gain some benefits from Jai King Ren." At that moment, the banquet door was pushed open. Jai King Ren entered confidently, holding a stack of documents, her expression calm. As soon as Wang Yang saw her walk into the restaurant, he smiled and said, "Boss Lady G, I've admired you for a long time." He gestured for her to sit. "Please come sit down. The dishes are already served." As soon as Jai King Ren entered, she immediately placed the stack of documents on the table. Zhao Zhenyang and Wang Yang were taken aback. She then said, "Forget about eating. I have already signed everything. You just need to sign it as well, and it's done." She didn't even give them a chance to sit down for a meal. Wang Yang placed his hand on the table, creating a noise. He smiled cunningly and said, "Your attitude is something we cannot accept. Even if the person is dead and Lin Ke is in prison, at most I will just stop doing business." Jai King Ren was not afraid of them at all. She slammed her hand down on the table, leaning on both hands, and said, "You don't need to act smug in front of me. I don't believe that spending a few $1 billion won't solve this problem." Jai King Ren's expression at this moment was terrifying, her gaze as if she could kill prey. Right then, the three of them were scared and thought to themselves, "This woman is hard to deal with." Wang Yang continued to smile cheerfully and said, "All right then, Boss Lady G, calm down. It's not good to be so angry before we even start discussing." Jai King Ren was not thinking about discussing with them. She stood on the opposite side, leaning on the table, and said, "The transfer contract is already here. What else do you want to talk about?" Wang Yang, sitting on the other side, spoke up. "Boss Lady G, after all, for such a big project, I cannot handle it alone. I need to find a partner for cooperation. I wonder if Boss Lady G would like to cooperate." Jai King Ren completely wanted to avoid wasting time. She turned to leave, looking back and said, "If you can't handle such large projects, then don't do it. The Zhao Yang group does not want to cooperate with you." Wang Yang was so angry after hearing that he nearly went mad. His face darkened. His hand clenched into a fist, threatening Boss Lady G. "If you say that, it means you're not showing any respect. Someone stop her." As soon as Wang Yang gave the order, a group of people quickly rushed in. 4 men stood at the entrance to prevent Jai King Ren from leaving. She loudly exclaimed, "What do you want to do?" In the meantime, Wang Yang calmly poured himself a drink, then stood up and walked towards her, holding a glass of wine. However, his expression was so frightening that it startled her. He spoke, "The hatred between us and Lin Ke is not just about this project. As long as you toast with the 3 of us, each of us with a glass, then our issues with Lin Ke will be considered resolved." At that moment, Jai King Ren completely lost her initiative. Both Zhao Zhenyang and Mr. Fang also got up to hold her back. She anxiously shouted, "Don't even think about it. What do you want to do? Let me go." Jai King Ren was restrained by Wang Yang's underlings. He smirked and said, "I'll take the contract. And as for this glass of wine, today you have to drink it, whether you want to or not." Zhao Zhenyang, pleased with himself, took out his phone, recording a video while saying, "I want to record this video and send it to Lin Ke. His moment is drinking with me again. I have to provoke him until he goes crazy." The man continued to urge Boss Lady G, "The wine is brought right to your mouth. You should show some respect and take a sip." Jai King Ren frowned, angrily shouting, "Don't dream. Let me go." Wang Yang covered her mouth and tried to force her to drink the glass of wine. He said, "Don't want to drink the invitation, want to drink the penalty." Jai King Ren could only widen her eyes, struggling in helplessness. Suddenly from outside, Lin Ke kicked the door open. Everyone in the room was startled. Lin Ke adjusted his collar, his expression darkened with killing intent. He spoke, "You 3, none of you will leave this place today." Zhao Zhenjiang pointed at Lin Ke's face, angrily shouting, "How dare you act so arrogantly? Don't you see whose territory this is?" Immediately, he was kicked in the face by Lin Ke, flipping in the air and causing everyone around to panic. Wang Yang pointed at Lin Ke, ordering, "Get my guys." As soon as his subordinates heard the order, they rushed in like a storm. Lin Ke slowly stepped forward and delivered a strong punch to Wang Yang's stomach, causing him to spit out all the alcohol he had just consumed, his face turning purple with pain. He clutched his belly, trembling, stammering, "You dare to hit me." Then Lin Ke swept his legs, and as expected, Wang Yang flipped over. While he was writhing on the ground, Lin Ke stepped on his wrist, glaring down at Wang Yang on the ground. He began to interrogate. "Just now, you used this hand to grope her, right?" Wang Yang was so scared that cold sweat poured down his face. He replied, "I know I was wrong. I'm willing to hand over all my territory to you. I beg you." The suppressed anger within Lin Ke erupted, his face flushed with rage. Suddenly, a shrill scream rang out from the restaurant, breaking the silence outside. Wang Yang lay motionless on the ground. Lin Ke stood up and shouted at Zhao Zhenyang, "I didn't want to pay attention to you. Why do you keep causing me trouble? Do you really think you have what it takes?" At that moment, Zhao Zhenyang's face was covered in bruises. He was terrified and quickly waved his hands, responding, "Let's sit down and talk slowly. If you hit me, you won't gain anything." Lin Ke rushed over to grab Zhao Zhenyang by the neck, slammed him down to the ground, and asked, "Just now you used this head to scheme against her, didn't you?" He stomped hard on Zhao Zhenyang's wrist, lifting his finger to threaten, "If you dare touch her again, then there's no need to keep this hand." Suddenly, someone shouted outside the door, "Stop!" 3 people rushed in, and in the bewildered gaze of Lin Ke, Liang Ruyu, Mo Hongshan, and Qin Han looked panicked upon seeing the scene before them. Qin Han immediately intervened. "Lin, please calm down." But Lin Ke refused to listen, responding angrily, "Today, I must break his arm. What anyone says is useless." Zhao Zhenyang was pinned tightly to the ground, with no strength left to resist. Blood began to trickle from the corner of his eyes. After a moment of hesitation, Lin Ke decisively stomped on his arm, causing the bone inside to snap. Zhao Zhenyang screamed in pain, the cry echoing outside, causing the birds to scatter. Everyone in the room was taken aback by Lin Ke's actions. Mo Hongshan thought to himself, he really is just like his father. Liang Ruyu stood silently in a corner, not daring to say a word. He turned to look at Fang Donggu's son sitting in another corner and asked, "What about you?" He was so cowardly that he sat on the ground and replied, "This has nothing to do with me. You can't hit me." Liang Ruyu approached Lin Ke and advised him, "Go back first. Let me handle this." Suddenly, Ji King Ren ran over, tears welling in her eyes, and said, "Lin Ke, please take me home." Liang Ruyu stood behind, surprised as she watched the two of them. Lin Ke replied, "All right, Ji King Ren." Then the two of them linked arms and walked out of the room. As they reached the restaurant entrance, Jia King Ren anxiously turned to Lin Ke and asked, "Are you hurt?" He seemed angry when he answered, "Is there something wrong with you? How dare you go to meet them alone?" Jia King Ren covered her mouth, sobbing. "The guy named Wang Yang said that you ordered your driver to run over his subordinate. I was scared you would go to jail, so I took the contract to meet him." Lin Ke angrily replied, "Do you believe everything they say? Do you have any idea how dangerous it was today? Even if nothing happened, you should have called me beforehand." Faced with his anger, Ji King Ren stammered, "I know I was wrong. Please don't scold me anymore." Lin Ke then lowered his voice, held her in his arms, and reminded her, "Forget it. Next time, remember to call me first. I'll take you back to the office." Ji King Ren leaned against his chest and whispered, "I know you do this for my sake, but please don't take such dangerous actions in the future." A moment later, they arrived at the company. As soon as they got there, Lin Ke picked up the phone to call Liang Ruyu, asking how to handle the situation. Then Qin Han asked the legal department of Zhonghan Saiben to send a lawyer's letter to Mr. Zhao and Mr. Fang as a preemptive strike. "As for Wang Yang, let me handle that. John Hai will no longer have this person in the future." On the other end of the line, Liang Ruyu replied, "Fortunately, his arm doesn't have any serious issues. If he agrees to reconcile, he must call me immediately if he encounters any difficult situations in the future. Don't act so impulsively again." Lin Ke responded, "Okay, I understand." Just after hanging up, someone suddenly called out, "Lin Ke." Jia King Ren cheerfully walked over. "If you're free tomorrow, come to the wharf and take a look. The first phase of the wharf renovation project has basically been completed." Lin Ke smiled lightly and agreed. The next morning, on a beautiful day with gentle sunlight shining down at the hospital, Xiaoxin happily ran over to announce, "Brother Lin, I have good news to tell you." She smiled and explained that in a few days, a patient wanted to have a heart stent placed. Director Lai said he wouldn't do it, so you can take this case. I'll assist you. Lin Ke seriously reminded her, placing a heart stent is not something that can be done in just a few hours. Wang Ziyi glanced around, looking somewhat displeased. He gave a fake smile and suggested to the female doctors, "That's right, since our department is short-staffed, Director Lai has scheduled almost all the surgeries for tomorrow. Therefore, I have a proposal. Shall we form a group to go out and have some fun? I heard the Wangjiang Wharf has been greatly expanded compared to the original." Upon hearing this, everyone smiled eagerly. Lai Xuhan held the file in her hand but still listened intently to the conversation of everyone. Seeing the eager expressions of the female doctors, she couldn't help but say, "We can't form a group, but we can let everyone take a half day off. If you want to go play somewhere, go ahead." Zhao Xin came over, looking at the excitement of the nurses, and then asked Chief Lai, "Can we really go?" Lai Xuhan raised her hand to gently stroke her hair and replied, "You can leave the patient rooms to me. You guys go outside and relax a bit." Hearing this, Wang Ziyi looked shocked and wide-eyed. He quickly persuaded Chief Lai, "If you don't go, then what meaning does it have for us to go? I invited everyone out, so I will cover all the expenses." Xiao Xin softly whispered in Lin Ke's ear. He just wants to invite Chief Lai. Hang Xinjiang stepped forward warmly and said, Chief Lai, how about this? Everyone can go play. I'll cover all the expenses. I'm older now, and it's not really appropriate for me to hang out with you young folks. It's better for me to stay behind. Wang Ziyi happily stepped forward, grabbed Hang Xinjiang's hand, and replied, Then thank you, Chief Chang. Lai Xuhen looked towards Lin Ke, as if wanting to say something. He looked at her but didn't understand what was happening. Lai Xuhen agreed. All right, then let's go for a walk together. Wang Ziyi clenched his teeth, filled with determination, and thought, I have to let everyone know that in this practical and realistic world, no matter how beautiful something is, it's useless. With money, you can have everything. That afternoon, they arrived at the harbor. Here, the water was a deep blue. There was a spacious square, and many large ships were docked at the port. Everyone marveled at the scenery. Xiao Xin exclaimed, Oh, a Wangjiang dock is so beautiful. Wang Ziyi recounted, Not long ago, the Wangjiang dock was acquired. A mysterious tycoon spent $800 million to renovate it. I've heard that there will be even more luxurious constructions in phases 2 and 3. Upon hearing this information, the girls expressed their surprise. Xiao Xin clasped her hands in admiration and asked Director Wang, Even insider information like this, you know? He chuckled proudly and replied, I am a member of the Yacht Club here, so there are many things I know. All right then, let's roast some food and I'll go prepare the yacht for us to go play at sea. The girls joyfully exclaimed, We can go to the sea. Wang Ziyi cheerfully responded, Of course. Now that we've arrived at Wangjiang Dock, we have to enjoy some time at sea. Since you all came here with me, I have to make sure you have a great time. He glanced at Lin Ke and smugly thought, You're just a small fry trying to compete with me? He turned around in a panic when he saw Lin Ke walking with Lai Xuhan and Xiao Xin. Xiao Xin turned to Lin Ke and asked, Do you know if there's anywhere selling swimwear recently? We need to choose a really nice set for Director Lai. Lai Xuhan felt confused by Xiao Xin's attitude. She questioned, Isn't it just swimwear, Lin Ke? Even as a man, isn't this excited? Why are you like this? As soon as they arrived at the store, Xiao Xin quickly spotted a set hanging on the rack. She picked up a sexy white bikini and said, Director Lai, I think this white one suits you very well. Lai Xuhan blushed and hurriedly waved her hands to refuse. No way, it's too revealing. Pick something else. Xiao Xin then pointed to a nearby pink bikini and asked, If that's the case, how about that one? The straps will flatter our figure. Lai Xuhan glanced at Lin Ke, hesitating to think. She turned around pleasantly and replied, Then let's get this one. Also, grab a light jacket. Xiao Xin happily said, Okay. She gleefully carried 2 bags and ran out to tell Lin Ke, Lin, it's your turn to step up now. This free ride, you're covering everything. Include my stuff too. Lai Xuhan stood by, looking confused. She tried to intervene. No need. Immediately, Lin Ke agreed. Okay. You're absolutely right. I will pay. He turned to ask the shop owner, Get me a tank top and shorts as well. Lai Xuhan shyly stepped out towards the dock, wearing the swimsuit she just bought, draped with a lovely sheer cover-up. This beauty captivated Wang Ziyi. He thought, This person's figure, those long legs are just perfect. Seeing the lustful expression on his face, Lai Xuhan fearfully pulled her coat closer to cover her body, causing him to lose interest. She anxiously said, Stop looking at me. Go eat your food. A long-haired girl with brown hair looked at Lin Ke and exclaimed, Why is Director Lin wearing a tank top? Why not show off her beautiful figure? Wang Ziyi smugly replied, These kids should give Director Lin some face. Director Lin's figure isn't good. That's why she doesn't show it off. However, the girl's eyes still shone brightly as they looked at Lin Ke. The girl in the pink bikini said, No way. Director Lin isn't overweight. She probably doesn't have a big belly. If we go over there and take off Lin's tank top, we'll find out. 2 girls ran towards Lin Ke, excitedly shouting, So thrilling, come on girls. Lin Ke stood there in confusion, still unsure of what they were going to do. One girl's hand gradually lifted the shirt up from his belly, revealing a toned body. Another hand pulled up the shirt on his arm, revealing Lin Ke's chiseled six-pack and bulging muscles. He ran his fingers through his hair and softly asked, What are you doing? Looking at that body, the surrounding girls couldn't help but be in awe. Xiao Xin kept praising Lin Ke. Your figure is amazing. The girl in the pink bikini agreed. That's right. With a figure like that, why wear a shirt? Lin Ke, pleased with himself, glanced at Wang Ziyi and replied, I'm not someone who likes to show off. What's the point? The beach scenery was stunning, with crystal clear blue water, gentle waves lapping at the shore, and soft sunlight shining everywhere. The girls were enjoying their day off, some lying in the sun, others playing volleyball. Lin Ke put his plate of food down on the wooden table. Chow Sin, holding a volleyball, curiously asked, Lin, where are you going? Lin Ke waved his hand and replied, just going for a walk. You all continue eating. He walked to the operations center of the pier. As soon as Bai Songjiang saw him, he asked Lin Ke, General Manager, what brings you here today? Did you bring friends to have fun? Do you need a boat prepared? Upon entering, Lin Ke declined. No need, someone has already prepared it. Then he sat comfortably on the sofa and asked, how's the situation at the pier? Bai Songjiang took out a thick stack of documents, smiling as he replied, the first phase of the expansion project is basically complete. Our Wangjiang Pier has become the largest tourist pier in the country. The next phase of the project is to move towards being a world-class terminal. Focusing on the documents in his hands, he asked further, has Yale's design team come up with a specific plan yet? Bai Songjiang replied, currently there's only a rough sketch. Director Guan is waiting for the completed design before meeting with the general manager to get feedback in a few days. Lin Ke nodded in agreement. Okay. He placed his hand on his chin and asked Bai Songjiang for his opinion. Mr. Bai, what do you think about us building an artificial island out at sea? Bai Songjiang replied in shock, what? Boss Lin, are you sure you're not joking? Lin Ke laughed with delight. Do you think I'm joking? He waved goodbye to Bai Songjiang and left, reminding him, contact me as soon as you have the design. Mr. Bai stood frozen in place, still unable to recover from the shock. When Lin Ke returned to the beach where everyone was having fun, he saw Cao Xin holding a skewer of meat. She was eating while waving her hand to call him. What have you been doing all this time? Director Wang has finished preparing everything. We'll go to the beach with his friends soon. Lin Ke replied happily, so I came back just in time. Wang Zheyi approached, placed his hand on his chin, pretended to think, and then said, Director Lin, if everyone goes out to play, it's very easy to lose things. Even if we leave, one person should stay behind to watch the belongings. Lin Ke scratched his head and replied naively, then we must thank Director Wan. Not only did he spend money to treat us to play, but now he also takes the initiative to stay and watch over the belongings. Truly a good person. Wang Zheyi stammered, Director Lin, you might have misunderstood. I can say that I wanted to stay. Suddenly, someone walked up, startling them. It turned out to be Gao Chong, a friend of Lin Ke, who had come here to have fun as well. As soon as he saw him, Wang Zheyi quickly adopted a fake tone and asked, Boss Gao, I was just planning to meet you. You even brought someone along yourself. Gao Chong ignored his words and suddenly spotted Lai Xuhan, joyfully exclaiming, Sister-in-law is here too. This made Lai Xuhan widen her eyes in confusion, thinking that Gao Chong was referring to her. Wang Zheyi looked pleased and replied with a smile, There's nothing between me and Director Lai yet. Why are you calling her sister-in-law? It's making me feel embarrassed. This statement made Lai Xuhan angry, while Gao Chong was left speechless. He became furious and with a murderous look on his face shouted, You really know how to put on a front. Are you out of your mind? The entire Wangjiang dock area is owned by Lin. Wang Zheyi gaped, asking in surprise, What did you say? His Wangjiang dock. Gao Chong frowned and firmly replied, Are you really thinking I'm joking with you? Qiao Xin admired Lin Ke's figure and exclaimed, Could it be that Lin has another identity? Is he that rich? Lin Ke said to Gao Chong, Don't you guys want to go to the sea to play? Then take my colleagues along. It's been stuffy in the hospital every day. Let's take a break today. Gao Chong cheerfully suggested, Since Brother Lin, sister-in-law, and all your friends are here, why don't we hire a big boat, and everyone can gather on it to have fun? Lin Ke sighed and immediately agreed. The kid is really clever. Wait a moment while I call Bai Songjiang to bring the big boat over. Moments later, a large, luxurious boat approached the shore to pick everyone up. Everyone looked at the boat with excited expressions. Before boarding, Qiao Xin remembered to turn back and ask Supervisor Wang, Aren't you coming with us? He replied gloomily, I'll stay here to keep an eye on the belongings. As soon as they stepped onto the boat, the first thing that caught the girls' eyes was the comfortable sofas. On the table were various kinds of candies, fruits, and beautifully arranged red wine. The girls couldn't help but marvel. Lai Xuhan stood by the ship's railing, her hair gently blowing in the wind. There was a voice from behind calling her. Supervisor Lai, would you like to go down to the sea for a swim? The boat has diving equipment. She paused and replied, I only know how to swim. I don't know how to dive. Lin Ke placed his hand on his chest to encourage her. Don't worry, I'll guide you. After a while, Lai Xuhan put on the diving mask. Lin Ke asked, Are you ready? She turned back and answered, Ready. Then Lin Ke wrapped his arms around her waist and together they jumped into the sea. Since she had never dived before, Lai Xuhan screamed in fear, tightly closing her eyes and flailing in the water. Lin Ke took her hand and tried to reassure her. Don't be afraid, just relax a little and hold my hand. Like Suhan gradually regained her composure and now she could dive underwater. At the bottom of the sea are beautiful red coral reefs and small, lovely fish swimming through the water, making her feel delighted. Out of excitement, her bra strap came undone, suddenly making the atmosphere awkward. Lin Ke kindly fastened the strap for her. The two embraced in the romantic scenery of the sea, with Like Suhan resting on Lin Ke's shoulder to feel the warmth of love. After a while, both Lin Ke and Like Suhan surfaced. Zhao Xin, busy eating a cookie she was holding, asked, Director Lai, why is your face so red? Like Suhan blushed deeply, not daring to say anything. She could only reply, It's my first time snorkeling, so I'm a bit nervous, which is why my face is red. She turned down and winked at Lin Ke. Like Suhan dried her hair with a white towel and then left. Lin Ke stayed behind to remind Gao Chong. The ladies still have patients to care for tonight, so let's head back to shore. Gao Chong replied, Okay, see you later. After a while, the boat returned to shore. Wang Ziyi immediately came over to ask Like Suhan, Is everyone back? Zhao Xin excitedly bragged, You have no idea how luxurious Lin's boat is. Lin and Director Lai even went snorkeling together. They wrapped their arms around each other and dove down. I wish I could experience that. Zhao Xin's words struck Wang Ziyi like a bolt from the blue, leaving him dumbfounded. Lin Ke hurriedly intervened, saying, Are you trying to provoke Wang Ziyi? Like Suhan added, Dr. Lin, you and I will go back to work the night shift. The others can take the day off and come in on time tomorrow. Hearing this, Lin Ke immediately agreed. All right. Wang Ziyi sat hunched in a corner looking despondent like a person with autism. The sky began to darken, marking the moment Lin Ke and Like Suhan returned to the hospital. In a romantic setting, they walked side by side like young lovers, petals gently falling. As they walked, a figure of a man approached them, continuously calling out, Like Suhan, Like Suhan. Like Suhan asked, puzzled, Uncle Wai, why are you all here? The man was named Wai Zhu. He replied cheerfully, Isn't it to see a doctor? That's why I'm here to find you. I didn't expect to run into you out here. The middle-aged woman was named Lu Ronghe, and the man with red hair beside her was Wai Dachan. Lu Ronghe sweetly asked, Two-Han, I heard you were doing a great job working in the hospital. You must know everyone working there, right? Like Suhan seemed a bit embarrassed as he replied, I know everyone in the hospital. If anyone is unwell, I can recommend a good doctor for them. Lu Ronghe happily responded, No need, just finding you is enough. Uncle Wai has been feeling a bit uncomfortable in his heart these past few days. I heard from his father that you specialize in cardiology. By the way, are you currently the head doctor or still the deputy head? Like Suhan, with a sad expression, replied, Director. Hearing these words from her, Wai Zhu quickly stepped forward, urging, When we arrived here, we were worried, afraid that you would still be the deputy director. Now it's great, hurry and check the illness for Uncle. Seeing how they treated Like Suhan, insincerely Lin Ke stood by, angrily wondering what this meant. Like Suhan forced a smile, trying to decline the offer from the two. Today, my office doesn't have any patients scheduled. Let me transfer you to the office of the deputy director in the same department as mine. I will call him in advance. You all can go meet him. The other two showed visible discomfort. Wai Zhu loudly scolded. Why not? Now that you're working in the city, you won't accept poor relatives from the countryside anymore. We just want to see you for a checkup, yet you keep refusing. Lu Ronghe then began to recount past favors. Do you remember? When you were young, your family was so poor that you didn't even have rice to eat. If my family hadn't given you potatoes and cabbage, you might not have survived until now. Like Suhan was at a loss for words, mumbling, I. Then she helplessly didn't dare to retort them. Like Suhan forced a smile, then turned to Lin Ke and said, I can't get to the outpatient department with you, so let me take them to the outpatient clinic instead. Lin Ke chuckled softly and replied gently, Let me go with you. After all, it's not time for your shift yet. Inside the hospital, Like Suhan reminded, Everyone go to the outpatient registration counter and get a checkup form. Remember to register under Chief Zhang Xinjiang. Then come to room 306 to see me. The female staff called the next person. Wai Zhu immediately said, Chief Zhang from the cardiology department. The hospital staff announced, Hello, $84. He panicked and asked, What? $84? Why is the registration fee for you guys so expensive? I only prepared $800 for treatment. I already spent $84. Did Chuhan mix something up? Why would I look for such an expensive doctor? Wai Dakang angrily stepped in. Dad, don't say anything more. Out of that $84, at least $60 is her commission. If not, where would she make money? Wai Zhu was taken aback and exclaimed, What? He replied, "Forget it. Let's register first, okay? We still have important things to do." Lag Suhan put on her white work coat and sadly said to Lin Ke, "I'm sorry to have embarrassed you." Lin Ke remained sitting and calmly replied, "They're just a few quirky friends. It's no problem." He advised her, "It's just that people like them are the type that demands to be liked. The more you accommodate them, the more they will take advantage and they won't let go easily." Lag Suhan sighed tiredly and replied, "Let's deal with the immediate situation first before figuring out the next steps." The relatives had managed to find room 306. Lag Suhan sat at her desk and seriously asked, "First, please tell me about your condition. Where do you feel discomfort, and have you noticed any unusual symptoms?" Wai Erju replied, "I feel discomfort right around my heart. Sometimes there's also pain in my neck, hands, and arms. It's very uncomfortable." After considering for a while, Lag Suhan concluded, "This symptom resembles acute angina." She asked them to go to the 4th floor for an ECG and echocardiogram first. "I'll assess the situation more closely and then arrange the next treatment plan." As soon as they reached the ECG room, they barged in, opening the door rudely, and shouted, "Suhan, what's going on?" The man had a furrowed brow and loudly asked, "You all went for the ECG. Why is the doctor still asking me for a receipt? Also, it's because I haven't paid that I'm not being treated first." Faced with his seemingly obvious questions, Lag Suhan and Lin Ke could only stand there helplessly, not knowing how to explain. Lin Ke angrily looked at Wai Erju, Wai Dachan, and Lu Ronghe. "Of course, if you haven't paid, they can't treat you. The hospital's equipment is not free." Wai Erju angrily shot back at Lin Ke, "But just for the ECG and echocardiogram, it costs $500. Why is it so expensive?" Wai Erju happily looked at Lin Ke and Lag Suhan. "How about I prescribe some medicine from the hospital for you? You can take it home and just drink it." Lin Ke and Lag Suhan were startled, looking at Wai Erju in confusion. "You want to prescribe some medicine for him?" Lu Ronghe smiled happily at Lin Ke and Lag Suhan. "A hospital has its own pharmacy, right? You're a doctor here and you can get medicine for free, so just take a little for your uncle. This isn't making things difficult for you, is it?" Wai Erju and Wai Dachang behind them laughed skimmingly. Lag Suhan looked at these people worriedly, thinking, "These people have no sense of shame at all." Lin Ke put his hands in his pockets and said seriously, "All right, we can take the medicine from the hospital freely." Lin Ke looked seriously at the group and shouted, "Do you want me to go get some sleeping pills for you right here?" Wai Nakang rolled up his sleeves, confidently looking at Lin Ke. "What do you mean by that?" Wai Erju and Lu Ronghe hugged each other in fear. Lin Ke stood in front and Lag Suhan seriously shouted at the group, "Wai Erju, if you still want to see a doctor, then go get a checkup and ultrasound first. If you don't want to see a doctor anymore, the exit is at the back, so hurry and leave. Don't delay us going out for a meal." Wai Erju clutched her right chest and trembled as she looked at Lag Suhan. "If you need money, who would bother meeting you? Fine, today I see through you. You are a person who has lost all humanity. From now on, we have no relationship at all." Lu Ronghe helped Wai Erju walk outside. Wai Dakang angrily turned back to look at Lin Ke. "Remember this well, I will let you off." Lin Ke calmly and cheerfully looked at the group. "No need to remember. Trouble will find you on its own." Lag Suhan sighed, feeling a bit tired. Finally, we managed to drive them away. Lin Ke placed his hand confidently on Lag Suhan's shoulder. "With me here, what is there to worry about?" Lag Suhan was startled and turned to look at Lin Ke, blushing. "Thank you." The next day, Wang Ziyi walked out carrying a pile of belongings. The girl with pink hair saw Wang Ziyi and felt confused. "Director Wang, what are you doing? Did the hospital fire you?" Wang Ziyi was taken aback and quickly looked at the girl with pink hair. "Actually, I resigned. I'm preparing to study abroad in the US. There was a knock at the door. 2 police officers entered and looked at Wang Ziyi. "Are you Wang Ziyi? Is your father's name Wang Yuan-Sing?" Wang Ziyi was startled to see the 2 officers. "Yes, that's right." One officer presented a document in front of Wang Ziyi. "Your father, Wang Yuan-Sing, is involved in a serious case of corruption and bribery. We need to take you in for an investigation. Please come with us." Wang Ziyi was shocked and astonished. Wang Ziyi was escorted by 2 police officers, looking confused at the pink-haired girl. "Oh, this?" The pink-haired girl looked worriedly at Wang Ziyi. Lin Ke stood by, arms crossed, thinking seriously. Liang Ru Yu's side has started to take action. The pink-haired girl anxiously yelled at Lin Ke, "Director Lin, it hasn't been long, and our cardiovascular surgery department has already lost a director and 3 deputy directors. This department has a curse." Lin Ke seemed frozen, unsure of what to say. Lag Suhan angrily raised his hand. All right, disperse quickly. No one is allowed to speak about this anymore. In front of Lai Suhan, everyone dispersed in fear. Lai Suhan turned to walk past Lin Ke, who was looking at her watch and murmured, "What do you want to eat for lunch so I can order it now?" Lin Ke anxiously turned to Lai Suhan. "I have something to do at noon, so I won't be able to eat in the cafeteria." Lai Suhan combed his hair and walked past Lin Ke seriously. "All right, you go ahead. I'll order for myself then." Lin Ke happily watched Lai Suhan walk away. At noon in the office, Lin Ke entered. Yun Yuan and the boy wearing glasses were standing there waiting. "Boss Lin," Lin Ke sat down. "What's the situation with Dai Di now?" Yun Yuan brought a cup of water to Lin Ke. "There's nothing left over there now. The data center has been moved to our side, but it involves a lot of personnel adjustments and will take at least a week to finish. Basically, we can only decide everything then." Lin Ke held a cup of water and said seriously, "Keep doing it this way. Wait until I finish handling Psyche's matters in Zonghai, and then we can start implementing the related tasks." Yun Yuan, holding a folder of documents, looked at Lin Ke seriously. "Our order of $3 billion has been placed earlier. Psyche has informed us that they are almost done. It seems they will need about another week to deliver." Lin Ke organized the documents on the table and looked at Yun Yuan. "Very good, very good. Then my plan also needs to be put on the agenda." Yun Yuan looked at Lin Ke. "Boss, you want to hear about the fun matters?" Lin Ke took the folder from his hand. "Go ahead, I'm free anyway." Lin Ke opened the folder, looking and listening to Yun Yuan. "We've assisted a total of 174 orphanages across the country, but I feel that just helping orphanages is not very effective. So I want to invest in some impoverished counties in key areas of the country, specifically to build a few elementary schools, hoping for something more practical." Lin Ke seriously stroked his chin while looking at the file. "This one is also good. After all, it doesn't cost much. Do we have any specific targets?" Yun Yuan stepped forward to show Lin Ke. "Take a look at this. Right now we have two auctions, Baiqiao Town and Furong Town. Both have very scarce educational resources, making them suitable for experiments." Lin Ke looked at the folder and was surprised to think of Baiqiao Town. "Isn't this like Suhan's hometown?" Yun Yuan was surprised to look at Lin Ke. "Boss Lin, do you know about Baiqiao Town? A year spent here is not worth even one time when you spend money on a massage." Lin Ke was a bit taken aback. He returned the document file to Yun Yuan. "Ah, then let's decide that. The first environmental project will be set in Baiqiao Town." Yun Yuan looked a bit unhappy and said to Lin Ke, "But the road conditions for this school are not good. Beyond 30 kilometers, it is a muddy dirt road. Even if we offer high salaries, it will be difficult to recruit teachers to go there to teach." Lin Ke sighed as he looked at Yun Yuan. "A road that is just over 30 kilometers long can block so many dreams of children. When seeing someone off, you should take them to the end of the road. Take the opportunity to meet your senior and let's work on the project plan. Calculate how much it would cost to build a road and a bridge." Yun Yuan looked at Lin Ke in astonishment. "Is that really the plan? Are you going to repair the road and build a bridge? Even though it's just a few dozen kilometers, the cost will be no less than $10 million. It would be more expensive than building a Hope School." The bespectacled teenager stood there silently. Lin Ke looked at Yun Yuan seriously and cheerfully. "We just need to spend a little money. I've already contacted the school, and everything will go smoothly." Yun Yuan raised her thumb and smiled at Lin Ke. "Boss, you really don't speak up unless you have to, and when you do, it's just to surprise others." Yun Yuan happily turned to leave. "Well, I'm off now." The young man with glasses still stood next to Lin Ke, saying nothing. At Shanghai Normal University, Lin Ke knocked on Zhao Qi's office door. Principal Zhao opened the door, and upon seeing Lin Ke, he was pleasantly surprised. "Principal Lin, I was just about to call you. This afternoon, the school is organizing a welcoming party. Just in time for you to be here. Let's participate together." Zhao Ke brewed some tea and set a cup of hot water on the table. Lin Ke sat down and smiled at Zhao Ke, who was also seated across from him. "I can't participate. I'm here today because I have a favor to ask. I want to establish a Hope School in Baiqiao Town, but I'm facing some difficulties with the teaching staff. I can meet the salary requirements like those in urban areas." Zhao Ke picked up the cup of hot water and smiled at Lin Ke. "That's not a big problem at all. It's getting increasingly difficult to find internship spots. The challenging conditions are not an issue. Principal Lin can provide them a place for their internship. It would be an honor for them." Lin Ke stood up, smiling at Zhao Ke. "That's fine. We'll discuss the specifics later. I must take my leave now." Zhao Ke stood up and looked at Lin Ke. "Okay." It was already late afternoon. Outside Shanghai Normal University, Liang Ruyu was standing and talking on the phone, looking out at the busy main road. Lin Ke stepped outside and was surprised to see Liang Ruyu. Oh, isn't that Liang Ruyu? Why is she here? Lin Ke wore a sinister smile as he quietly approached Liang Ruyu from behind, intending to blindfold her. Lin Ke missed and was startled. Liang Ruyu gently bent down, pulled out a gun, and pointed it at Lin Ke's side, her face filled with killing intent. Lin Ke was terrified and thought to himself, holy shit. Liang Ruyu retracted the gun, looking at Lin Ke in astonishment. Why is it you? Lin Ke sighed in relief, looking at Liang Ruyu. You scared me to death. Why do you have that with you? Liang Ruyu quickly hid the gun, looking at Lin Ke. This is just for self-defense. Who told you to sneak up on me? Why are you here? Are you also interested in some university pedagogy student? Lin Ke smugly replied to Liang Ruyu. Exactly. The campus belle of this pedagogy university has been brought in as my personal secretary. Liang Ruyu showed disgust towards Lin Ke. Lin Ke cheerfully looked at Liang Ruyu. And why are you here? Just when I needed to talk to you. Liang Ruyu smiled at Lin Ke. I have to go to the welcome party and I don't have much time. How about you come with me? It would be boring to go alone. Lin Ke walked along, happily looking at Liang Ruyu. Okay. Lin Ke and Liang Ruyu happily walked to the auditorium of Zhonghai Normal University. Zhao Qi, seeing Lin Ke return, was delighted. Principal Lin, why are you here? Liang Ruyu, standing next to Lin Ke, was also surprised. Curious, she turned to look at Lin Ke. Are you a principal of this normal university? Lin Ke raised his hand and seriously looked at Liang Ruyu. I'm just an honorary principal. Don't look at me like that in admiration. It's because I donated some equipment, so I became the principal. Liang Ruyu looked at Lin Ke with concerned surprise, thinking, how many identities does this man have that I don't know about? In the auditorium, when everyone had gathered, the MC announced, we will now officially begin. Lin Ke and Liang Ruyu sat in the front row clapping and smiling. Liang Ruyu turned to Lin Ke and said, didn't you say you had something to discuss with me? Go ahead and say it. Lin Ke leaned closer to Liang Ruyu and whispered, there's a poor town called Baiqiao. I want to build a school there. Also, we might be able to fix the road there. I wanted to ask if you could get in touch with the local authorities. She was taken aback and asked Lin Ke, you want to build a school? She stroked her chin thoughtfully and said, I just arrived in Zhonghai. I've always been in Yanjing, so I don't know many people in Yangcheng. I'll try to contact someone for you and see what we can do. Hearing that, Lin Ke smiled with satisfaction and thanked her. Then, while Lin Ke was focused on watching the program, Liang Ruyu propped her chin on her hands and gazed at him intently. She looked at him with a captivated and dedicated expression, which made Lin Ke feel a little uneasy. He said, don't look at me anymore, just watch the performance. She rested her chin in her hands and replied with a charming gaze. If you could perform something that satisfies me, then I'll immediately help you with the financial issues. Lin Ke sighed and replied, I can see you intend to make me lose face, right? At that moment, she continued to smile brightly. She interlaced her fingers and said, you want stable finances for a location, but don't want to give anything in return. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. He nodded in agreement. I'll smile. Then Liang Ruyu was surprised when she saw him suddenly stand up. The host introduced, Mr. Lin, are you here to perform something? She continued speaking to the new students and the graduating students to broaden their knowledge. Liang Ruyu continued to widen her eyes in surprise. Lin Ke walked straight to the piano. He said, I'm just going to sing a song for fun. Then his hands gently glided over the piano keys, creating a melodious tune. He played and sang clearly, his voice harmonizing rhythmically with the piano. The entire auditorium clapped, and everyone expressed their admiration for him, including Liang Ruyu. She was surprised and went up to Grigan, saying, how many secrets do you still have that I don't know about? She added, as for stabilizing your finances, I will definitely help you with that. Lin Ke smiled happily and winked at Liang Ruyu. Thank you, Miss Liang. Besides repaying you with my body once again, I really can't think of any other way to repay you. Hearing that, she blushed deeply and shyly waved her hand, saying, go on. He smiled wickedly. He waved goodbye as he left the hall, saying, you keep watching. I'm going ahead. We'll talk about repaying you with my body some other time. In the skyscraper under the blazing sun, Shen Tianzhou, in a lab coat, laughed heartily and said, Lin Ke, you're here. He happily replied, Mr. Shen, how's the progress now? He placed a cup of water on the table and said, there will be a breakthrough soon. It's at 17 nanometers now, but it's still far behind the most advanced chips, and the main issue lies with the light source. Lin Ke pondered, stroking his chin. If they do it themselves, how much money and time will it take? Shen Tianzhou said, endless money. At least 3 years of time. He worriedly sighed, holding his cup of water, and said, but if they go that route, there won't be any profit. Even if they manage to develop a 4-nanometer light source, if someone else develops a 3-nanometer one, the gap will always remain. Lin Ke nodded in agreement. He said, if I remember correctly, as is the world's leading optical manufacturing facility, right? I will think of a solution. Lu Ying and Sun Fu entered the room. She asked, boss, what is the matter? Lin Ke calmly replied, their 1.0 chip technology is about to be announced. Their technology has been stolen by Psyche, with more than 20 patents already registered exclusively. I suspect it will be announced in the morning, and by the afternoon they will receive a court summons. Both Lu Ying and Sun Fu were taken aback, mouths agape. Lu Ying worriedly asked, then why do they have to announce 1.0 when they are already well prepared for 2.0? Lin Ke confidently stated, the main purpose of my plan is to create a smokescreen so that the people from Psyche and Zonghai don't know too much. Otherwise, when the announcement is made, what fun would that be? One morning at the Metrong Industrial Zone, 2 cars were driving down the road. Liu Yin smiled and greeted Mr. Lin. When Lin Ke saw him, he said, you look quite elegant. Wearing a suit makes a difference. Hearing Lin Ke say that, Liu Yin shyly touched his head and said, Mr. Lin, please don't tease me anymore. He joyfully announced, I heard Master Qin say that Mr. Lin Ke is looking for me regarding something. What is it? Lin Ke calmly said, their 1.0 chip technology is about to be announced. Just say the word. At that moment, Lin Ke stepped closer, covering his hand and leaning in. Lu Ying, here's the thing. Upon hearing Lin Ke, Lu Ying startled and anxiously replied, Mr. Lin, are we really going to do something that big? Lin Ke confidently reassured him, don't worry. Lin Ke waved goodbye as he departed, saying, just follow my instructions. Meanwhile, in a tightly sealed room, Tang Dingchun was focused on working at her computer. Lin Ke opened the door and knocked on it. Dingchun happily called out, Teacher Lin. He smiled and asked her, how's the factory situation been lately? She ran over to him and said, nothing major has happened, but Metroang is no longer theirs. Upon hearing this report, Lin Ke was taken aback and asked, why is that? Dingchun turned away, closed the room door, and said, the workshop and warehouse have all been taken over by Psyche's people. If you want them to inspect fire safety issues, you'll be blocked outside. As she spoke, she locked the door. Then, with a playful expression, she said, Teacher Lin, why don't you arrange another workplace for me? Lin Ke sat down on the sofa. Dingchun continued, I feel like I'm not contributing anything, yet I'm still receiving a salary, so I feel a bit guilty. Lin Ke waved his hand and said, don't worry, the business operations of Metrong and Psyche will soon come to an end. By then, you won't need to be here anymore. Dingchun was both anxious and asked, I haven't done anything yet, but I've already received my salary. I feel very guilty. Then she pulled down her collar to reveal her beautiful large breasts and shyly called, Teacher Lin. After that, she unexpectedly hugged Lin Ke, which surprised him as well. Lin Ke, transitioning from a passive stance, pushed her down onto the sofa and cheerfully said, if you're determined to pay off your debt quickly, then do as you wish. Dingchun blushed and thought at this moment she buried her face into the sofa, preparing to make contact with Lin Ke's lower body. He grabbed her small waist. An hour later, the door of the room was opened. Lin Ke greeted, isn't that you, Brother Cao? Why have you come to find me? Brother Cao and his companion awkwardly said, Lin, you really have a lot of stamina. I heard your secretary for a whole hour outside. Lin Ke remained nonchalant and said, I just came to visit my employee. Dingchun was shy and bashful behind him. Boss Cao angrily said, I came to ask if you mistakenly hired a tall person to collect fees guarding the restroom doorway. Why would you do that? It's too embarrassing. Lin Ke scratched his head and said, did Boss Cao talk about that? He sighed and said he had lost several $100,000 again and he didn't have any money in his pocket. Boss Cao continued to be surprised. Boss Cao angrily pointed directly at Dingchun and said, Lin Ke, I can understand that you want money right away, but you shouldn't use that method. Do you really expect Secretary Zhang to pay money just for going to the restroom? Lin Ke, gritting his teeth in anger, pointed directly at Boss Cao and said, she is an exception. Just like when I handed over the workshop and warehouse to Boss Cao, Secretary Zhang does not have the right to check fire safety issues, right? Boss Cao was taken aback. He thought, so all this time he wanted to speak up for this secretary. Boss Cao then smiled and said, isn't it that she wants to go to the warehouse to see? Now I will take her there to check right away, and it will also be convenient to guide them on how to clock out.